All right. It's
Good
been
day.
posted. It's been posted.
Okay, good.
All right.
I
So,
am glad
Brandon, let's
to hear it.
what do you say we review a trailer here?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
All right. So, today the trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. We, like the rest of you, were very surprised that it dropped about 3 hours early. We were actually on here testing this live stream stuff, and I just opened my phone up and it's like, oh, I guess the trailer's out.
Guess so.
So earlier we recorded our live reaction, and now what we're gonna kind of do is what we did last year at this point, is just kind of break down each scene of the trailer. Spend an inordinate amount of time breaking down a 2-minute trailer.
Yeah.
So,
Without further ado, let's do that.
yeah,
You want to? I mean, for people, I don't know if anybody's actually in the chat right now. I don't see any. I see watchers, but nobody's really saying anything. That's cool. It's all right.
here we
Feel
go.
free, guys. I mean, if you want to talk, I mean, we're pretty approachable. You just talk.
Yeah. So I just popped in there, fire away with questions. No, we would love for you guys to jump in and be a part of the conversation, with any thoughts or observations that you have. So we'll keep an eye. Apologies for my dog. We will keep an eye on the chat as we're talking here. But I guess it's time we dive right in, Brandon.
Right.
I don't know if you've got anything that you want to say about the trailer before I hit play, or should we just go for it?
Just go for it. I mean, I'm like multitasking here. I've got this pulled up on my phone,
All right.
and I'm going to play it on my computer, try and sync it up with you so that I can actually see it better.
All right.
So,
Max Original, and we got it paused here on the death scene of Superman, from BVS.
well, the
New
scene-
shot.
Yeah, new shot.
But-
yeah, exactly.
His death. And you can see in this scene,
A shot that would make Black Canary blush.
yeah,
Because-
I got you. I get it.
Sonic Scream.
Yep. Nerd joke. Got it. What you don't really see in, he posted an image of this last year. And what
Pretty
you
rough.
didn't see was the kind of like sonic wave that was just kind of exploding out when he screamed. And Zach does an awesome job in this, and we've kind of talked about it before. He is so good at kind of layering these movies. Like with BVS, he opened it with the Metropolis scene from Man of Steel. With this one, he is obviously opening with Death of Superman and BVS. So
Well, technically, Ryan, he opened it with the death of the Waynes, but I don't. I don't know how many times you've seen that movie. You've watched it recently.
yeah,
but
yeah.
Just so nobody
Yeah.
calls us out, you're wrong. But
So this is really cool to me, and this is the first time that we have seen the drastic departure or we've seen Junkie's score, which is a drastic departure from the theatrical movie, which, by the way, I watched last night along with the DC Squadcast commentary. Just hilarious. Definitely recommend that you check that out.
I have done so. I did so. I was, I'm just going to say this, just for Scott and Tim. I listened to it right when it dropped because I'm a bigger fan. Ryan, it took him this long to do
Look.
it. So,
My wife wanted to watch it, so I had to wait. Okay.
yeah.
I was excited about it.
All right. Yeah.
So you can see the lightning and the sound waves kind of exploding out of Superman here, and then he does an awesome job of showing them actually kind of reverberating throughout the world.
Yeah. One thing we haven't noted is the music. Really cool, like
very Lord of the
like
Rings-ish.
Like a choir almost.
Yeah, for sure. And also the Lex Luthor BVS voiceover about the bell already being rung.
Yep.
Which is something that was really just kind of ignored in theatrical Justice League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, before we get to this, what I'm assuming is possibly Hippolyta, maybe
it's Hippolyta, yeah, I believe.
It could, I don't know. It's hard to exactly see if it's...
I guess that's true. I just assumed it was Hippolyta.
I'm looking... I think it is. I was thinking for a second that it could be like one of the Atlanteans, with like long hair. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking, zooming in, it looks... Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see who it is eventually. But if I had to put money on it, I'd say Hippolyta, because it looks Themyscira, and I'm assuming this is like right after the temple falls into the ocean.
What's up, John? We got John joining the chat here.
Hey, John. Thanks for joining us.
Yep. First comment on the live stream.
Yep. You're the first comment ever for CAPECAST.
Congratulations. What an honor.
Remember when people used to comment first on like Instagram and Facebook posts and things like that? First.
Yep.
In the past. Anyway, I guess we skipped over the sonic scream kind of ringing through Metropolis, and you got to kind of see what
over
will
the
become,
ocean. Yeah.
I guess what will become Heroes Park. All that destruction. Well, no, I guess Heroes Park is already a thing. I'm sorry, I just watched Man of Steel, and so Heroes Park's already been established.
Yeah.
But my bad.
This scene, the Themyscira shot. This is one of the when we did the reaction video earlier. This is one of the kind of jaw drop shots. It's just one of those things that watching the theatrical, like, you don't have any frame of reference really for what's happening here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make
inferences. You can kind of see a crowd of what I assume is some Themyscirians over there on the edge of the mountain cliff. But yeah, I mean, it's just little stuff like this is such a cool shot. Why wouldn't they have? I mean, they still have this scene contextually in the original movie. It's just like, I know that they were just trimming everything they possibly could to get it under 2 hours, but
that's one of those. We joke about it, but the whole like, why would you cut this? I know you said that one of your buddies texted you and asked you that.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah, our buddy David, who was who was on our Wonder Woman review with Katie, Ryan's wife. He's like so on board. It's so funny watching him because he's kind of casually enjoyed these movies, but now like I've been kind of like feeding the beast a little bit with him.
Yeah,
and he's like just like chomping at the bit.
Right,
it's so funny.
But John says it's probably the temple where they keep the mother box, which is it's a good call. Could very well be that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I assume.
Yeah.
It's where where the Steppenwolf kind of boom tubes into where they're kind of guarding it.
Sure.
And then, I'm wondering if this is like, I'm assuming this would be like after. Well, I don't know. We don't know how this resolves in this cut.
They do have. You can see all the Amazonian horses and everything out there next to it, so that could be very true. Could just be post Steppenwolf bouncing from
like after he's gone.
Yeah.
Very well could.
So we roll along here. Super cinematic, which that was one thing that I noticed last night was
imagine that
was just noticing how like like almost cropped in. Everything felt, and just obviously the saturation is everything feels like a rainbow, but there's also just the scale of it just feels so tiny compared to this trailer.
Noticeably Warner Media logo.
Yep.
It says WB, but don't let it fool you. It is Warner Media.
And I stopped it on this scene just because, Brandon, I feel like you probably like to express yourself here. How excited you are to
I don't think it would be appropriate for a live stream. We try and keep it PG.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, anybody that knows me, and if you've listened to any of our streams, Affleck is the GOAT when it comes to Batman for me. And this portrayal of Batman in particular is, it's I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just love it. Yeah. And there's so many, like, it's just like, it's unlike any other Batman incarnation. And it just exudes, can I say, we'll say bad buttery. That sounds weird to say.
It does sound very weird, but it's okay. We can get
bad
weird.
Buttery.
We can get weird. Yeah, Brandon knows. I'm a big Hot Toys collector, and
you gonna bring this up? You gonna rub this in my face?
Of course, I love rubbing it in your face. This is a Hot Toy. Brandon prefers the statues. I'm a Hot Toys guy. But This is the one Hot Toy that Brandon just wants more than anything in the world. And I got it, and I love rubbing it in his face.
I can't, I mean, when they released this figurine or doll, it's a doll, Ryan. Mm-hmm. I hinted so many times that I wanted this because I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to buy it for myself. I felt, I don't know, And then they all sold out, and now they're like $500. And
yep.
Ship is
and I've got one,
me.
and Brandon doesn't. So moving on.
Moving on. So yeah, Knightmare Batman.
We got Bryce jumping in here on the chat too. He says, "You can tell WB is hindering the production as much as possible. They leaked the next Godzilla vs Kong trailer minutes after the Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer dropped." Yeah,
possibly so. I mean, we could get into some tinfoil conspiracy talk. I mean, it does. It's pretty obvious when it comes, especially at least when it comes to like social media pushing, when everybody under the AT&T umbrella is tweeting about this except the WB account.
Yep. I will say I did see
when you've got TNT drama. And not WB, that's a red flag.
Right. I did see, for the first time, I saw Warner Brothers UK posted the trailer today.
Okay.
Which is cool. It's a good sign.
Yeah.
Don't know if that has to do with a distribution deal or something internationally. No idea. But,
maybe.
Yeah. So, moving on here. This is everything that these reshoots. First off, Ben looks great in the bat suit. I guess as expected, right, Brandon?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, we assume this is, one of the pickups for the additional photography that was, this fall.
Yeah.
Nightmare stuff.
So John said that WB also retweeted the trailer. So nice. Cool. That's awesome. Good to see.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Thank you, intern.
That's right. They probably like some poor intern probably got fired.
Yeah.
Got a personal call from an executive. What'd you just do? But no, everything that they shot here in this nightmare sequence, and we can kind of see the devastation landscape here, which was in one of the little teases that Zach dropped. It's just everything's freaking gorgeous, dude.
Indeed.
It's got a little flare ski on there and everything.
Yeah, I think J.J. Abrams may have ghost directed that scene.
Yeah.
We'll find out maybe later.
Then we got a shot here of Wonder Woman retrieving the arrow that was fired from Themyscira. This and her headed into this little temple where she figures out, or not figures out, but kind of learns where or what is happening with Darkseid.
Right.
And this was actually this was one of the first teases that Zach put up. Was a shot of Wonder Woman with that Lex Luthor dialogue that we kind of heard.
Yep.
Bryce just says in here, the nightmare scenes are my favorite. The trench coat, the goggles, the Uzi, whatever gun he has. Yeah.
Listen, Batman is my favorite character. I have no problem with Batman wielding guns.
Yep.
This is a take. I understand that, the no-kill rule is part of that mythology, but, I love this take. This is a nightmare type thing, and so it's like Elseworldsy, and, I'm not one of those sticklers. It's like, oh, Batman doesn't kill. So,
yep.
This one does. Deal with it.
No, it's what's so great about these movies is for a character like Batman that you've seen so much of over the years. This is just a completely different take from anything that you've seen. And Brandon knows I can go on and on about the whole Batman doesn't kill thing. I have very strong opinions about it, and the movies that exist before this, he also kills in those. So,
indeed, at least this one they have a reason for it,
Right.
So,
moving on here, we've got our first full-on Apokolips shot here, and I did see somewhere too that it was pretty cool that.
Now, here's the question though. I wonder if this is Apokolips or this is terraformed Knightmare, because you see the exploding volcanic-looking structures that you also see in the Knightmare sequences in the distance. I'm wondering if this is part of the Knightmare.
It could be. It also kind of gives me. So these look like. So Apokolips traditionally is kind of like fire geyser planet, and these look like they're kind of exploding out of the core. Which to me would kind of indicate, and the banners and everything.
Well,
but it's true. It could be a nightmare sequence thing.
I just remember, I mistakenly.
Oh, by the way, we got Al chiming in. Our buddy Al.
Hey, Al Moses.
Happy Valentine's, fellas. Happy Valentine's to you, Al. Happy that you're tuning in. I know you love the Snyder Cut stuff.
Yeah. Everybody give Al a what's up in the chat. He's it's probably very hard for him to be here right now.
Yep.
So, kudos.
He's awesome.
Kudos to him. Well, the reason why I was suggesting that it could be Knightmare is because, Scott from DC Squadcast, when I put out that tweet about that Granny Goodness shot, possibly being the boom tube, Steppenwolf head rolling, all that stuff, he said that it was part of the Knightmare sequence, and this is that shot. It's just from the behind them.
Yeah.
You can see Granny Goodness there. You can see Darkseid. You can see Darkseid, obviously. So if that is to be believed, I feel like it's Knightmare, but we'll see.
John jumped in again. He said, I don't think Darkseid would be ruling from Earth. He would still be on Apokolips, which could be true. It could also be alternate future thing too. Yeah. So
I mean, I think that's definitely going to be the case. I think he won't. I don't think he'll step foot on Earth in the actual, reality.
Right.
It'll be maybe, if the boom tube thing at the end of the movie, I don't know if he enters that realm, so to speak, through that, and then that's the cliffhanger, but we'll see.
Oh, buddy. Now we got our shot that we got in the teasers of a full-on Darkseid, Desaad, Granny Goodness. And everybody early on who was bashing the look of Uxas in the history lesson. I mean, look at this dude. That is
Yeah.
formidable.
Yeah.
And I also saw on Twitter somewhere, somebody was kind of piecing together that Darkseid, like the height differences between Darkseid and Steppenwolf and somebody else.
Yeah. I mean,
And
pretty formidable.
he's pretty according to the scaling that they did, it sounds like he's going to be kind of like Doomsday, or close to Doomsday size, which would make sense.
That. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Doomsday held Superman in his hand, so.
It's a good point. Yeah, maybe like half Doomsday.
Maybe.
Half scale. We talk about figurines. You know what that means.
I think it's awesome that there's a character in Zack Snyder's Justice League called Granny Goodness. I know it's like an actual character, but the name itself, Granny Goodness, is usually they've kind of played fast and loose with some of the the names. Like they didn't really call Superman, like they kind of like danced around it a little bit in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Because they were like following up like a Christopher Nolan approach where it's like more realistic. So to have these like super comic book named characters it's I love it, but it's just it's funny.
No, it's awesome. Yeah. Just one of the characters that, and if you've heard me talk about, if you listen to our podcast, you've heard me talk about my love for the animated stuff. She's one that's just kind of portrayed as all over the map. There's iterations that I really like and iterations that I really don't. It'll be interesting to see who is actually playing her in this movie. I
know a lot of people have theorized, but I feel like it's just going to be like a no-name actress. It's more of a world-building thing than something to flesh out like with a big name. But yeah, we'll see.
Bryce jumped in. I wonder if Carrie Kelly will be in the Knightmare scenes because she had a scene cut from BVS, and you can still see a redhead chick in the background of the scene with parademons. Who knows?
I know that was a theory. I know the character that he's talking about. I think it's a cool fan theory.
Yeah, let's be honest. Nothing really would surprise, the fact that we're getting this movie is just wild in and of itself. So I don't think there's anything
he has hinted at Carrie Kelly taking up the Robin mantle post Affleck's Robin being killed. So,
and John said we still haven't even seen Deathstroke or Martian Manhunter. It's going to be insane. It's just very true. That was one of the first things I thought about afterwards. I was like, man, there's so much with everything, all the teases and everything that he's done, everything he leaked on Vero. There's so much that's still kind of under wraps on this movie. All right, this is the scene I wanted to talk about. The shot of Steppenwolf talking to what I imagine
saying, "Mother."
Yeah, that was one of the things. Man, watching the theatrical last night, it was like a drinking game you could have started. Every time Steppenwolf says "mother," and then of course the like throwaway Darkseid line where you're like, it almost makes you mad that they put it in there for Darkseid. Yeah, they don't explain it at all. The rest of the movie.
Do you think this is Desaad in this?
It could be. That's
whatever.
It could be.
I'm assuming this is some kind of like similar to how Steppenwolf was communicating with Lex at the end of BBS.
Sure.
This is some sort of like some telecommunication.
Yeah.
Apokolips tech.
I can definitely see Zack pulling that continuity into this movie, just that technology. I have also seen people kind of theorize that Darkseid is, in some comics, he is the embodiment of death, and his body is just a body. So this could be some sort of projection. who knows again. But this is one of the things that was
I don't
so
see
awesome.
him.
Good.
I guess my only like, uh, I gue- as far as it being actual like Darkseid and not Decide was I don't know if he would bow to Decide.
It's a good call.
Um,
Yep.
So, and then that next scene with him actually bowing, you can see his armor.
How awesome is that?
Back.
That is so cool to me.
Yeah.
That he was one of the coolest surprises of this trailer to me, to finally like hear his voice like the way it was intended to be, to
Yep.
see him in action, but also see that like this dude isn't like an android. He's an alien.
Yeah, no, I love that they kind of modulated the voice to sound more alien
Yeah.
than just Kieran Hines doing Kieran Hines.
Mhm.
So,
And he's like just his physical build, like people
Well,
like
it's
he
cool to
almost, I know
see.
I've seen people kind of mention that he looks like man, I don't know, I'm not a Marvel guy, so I don't necessarily know the names of a lot of their characters, but remember in Thor, the Asgardian, like that fire guard, the silver guards they send to Earth.
mhm.
I've seen people compare his look to that, and I'm just glad that we get to see him like his organic body, in addition
Yeah.
to his armor.
Well, it's cool because you can see when he's like that first shot where you can see Desaad or Darkseid.
Yeah,
You can see he's fully like armored up, and then the next shot is,
right.
the armor's already. I'm sure we'll get more of that in context in the movie.
Got him bowing, and then we've got a shot of the chase scene, the mother box chase scene.
Now, I wonder. These are a lot of Amazonians on horses. I wonder if this is from the history lesson, and then the next shot is the chase.
Could be.
Saying?
It could be. Yeah.
Because that is a horde. I mean, that's a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
At least, I mean, in theatrical, like, I feel like this is probably where you're going to see Antiope, where that big horde of Amazonians on horseback, and then
Right.
I think I would put money on it.
Yeah.
Just say it.
No, I mean that's a fair point. I think the only, like, I will say, when I watched theatrical last night, I was surprised by the volume of Amazonians in the scene, even in the theatrical. Like, from what I remember, I don't know why that was the case. I guess I was kind of under the impression that it was a handful, like you, but I mean, you could be right there. And then we've got the shot of Steppenwolf just butchering an Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
There he is. Headshot. This movie, people complain about the rating issue. I don't think that this movie is rated R just to be rated R.
No. I mean, I think it's rated R. I think we've talked about this. I think with Paul Shire when he was on here. I just think it's one of those things where they just didn't try and trim out anything that pushed it over to R.
Yeah.
Similarly, how BVS Ultimate was. Similarly, how Battle of the Five Armies, The Hobbit, was R, the extended version. They just kept it all in, and
Sure.
it's probably mostly going to be like more like parademon violence, I would imagine, dismemberment and things like that.
Yep.
I'm sure there'll be some Amazonian stuff as well, but
That Vero, that Vero clip that Zach put up, of just massacre, like he's just like whipping horses over his head, like it's just no holds barred.
Yeah, it looked great. I'm very excited.
And then we've got this, man. So watching the theatrical last night, this scene was a disaster. just jumping between reshoots and original shots.
It's so sloppy how they're like, oh, it's over here on the wall for little drawings.
Oh my god!
Let's
He looks
let's
over
move out
and
of the
it's like
way.
Aquaman like holding a fish, like he looks exactly like him or
Right.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you, yeah,
Yeah.
you do look like him.
Oh,
But then also just like seeing, dude, that movie is plagued with the issue of haircuts changing between reshoots or from theater or original photography to reshoots. Like there was a moment where they were in Flash's garage, and you just like his bangs just like jump like up like a half inch.
Yeah.
And Katie was like, "What just happened?" My wife, Katie. And for like, that's not something that she would typically pick up on. Which, you know.
Oh, the continuity, it's so easily to spot.
Yeah.
Well, it's just so much blatant green screen. But let's not talk about it. we got this to talk about. It's so much prettier.
It is.
Especially what we're on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got Aquaman. So that's going to be fascinating to see how the underwater sequence plays out with the mother box, the Amazonian mother box. Just because that was one of the things that felt so disjointed when he just like he shows up underwater to go like pick up this armor stuff, but then you see Mira, and then it jumps back to him, and then all of a sudden Steppenwolf booms in, and like everybody just happens to like right at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Steppenwolf just
Yeah. What's funny is like he literally like blows bubbles. Like he like pops up. They show him like boom down into that little cavern, and you see like light coming up, and then like they from behind you see you're like behind an Amazonian like swimming up to the edge, and then he's like rah, just like bubbles like flying out of his mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole oh man. Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're gonna make a new movie. That's what you're doing.
That's right. Whoa. All right. So next we've got this shot of Cyborg, which it looks like he's rocking the multi-arm thing potentially.
Possibly so. He's
Here?
he's pulling a Terminator 2 right here, the dead minigun.
That's right. I know Zach did convert.
If I was going to complain about a shot, fidelity-wise, this would be it. This one looks.
I would agree
not
to you.
up to
There's
snuff
something.
with the
There's
rest.
something going on with the CG on this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just feels like it's sitting on top of a,
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if it could be a matter of like heavily cyborg or heavily CG cyborg on top of heavily CG background.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
just,
I mean,
like really the
some-
only thing real in that photo is his half face.
Right. Yep.
So it might be maybe
And it
some sort of
feels-
floating head thing.
It feels pretty flat too. His face,
Yeah.
like almost like it's a still photography type element that's put into this CG body
Right.
element. I don't know, but it feels like it's. I mean, it seems like it's a nightmare scene.
Yep.
So then I'll let you go. I'm scrubbing on my own. As you're
Yeah,
scrubbing
so
on
we've
yours.
gotten over the last few months we've gotten this so many of these like different like really really quick snippets of Batman and his Batmobile mowing down parademons. And this one was another little news snippet. And my main takeaway with any of this stuff is the lack of the like, man, I was watching this movie last night, and like the Russian sequence came up, and like my whole room is just red. Like I look around, like like is there like a tornado outside, or like it's just like overwhelmingly red. And like there's like the shot, the sequences with the Flash, where like his suit just like blends in with the background because everything's so
Right.
like.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But yeah, I mean, the color correcting obviously
Yep.
is.
That was a cool shot. The little Batmobile
Up on two
push,
wheels.
yeah,
Yeah.
that we hadn't seen before.
Mhm.
And this whole sequence is gonna be awesome to actually see play out as intended. Just like last night watching this, it was just so obvious which shots were Zack's and which shots were not
Oh,
Zack's.
yeah.
Just the action, everything's completely different. Little casual head dodge there. That's pretty cool.
Yep. I miss this Wonder Woman so much
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. Like not even
after watching.
close to Wonder Woman 84 was just like so far in a different direction on the spectrum compared to what we had seen in BVS
Right.
and in the original Wonder Woman. Same with Patty.
So, yeah, I agree. One thing that we're missing with this trailer recap is the voiceover stuff. that we should probably
So this
call out.
quote here was such a Terrio.
How do you know your team's strong enough?
He
If
says,
you can't bring down a charging
That's it.
bull. What
if
was
you
it?
can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at it.
Yeah.
Which is just like that's like a like goosebumps type line. I'm really looking forward to the dialogue between Bruce and Alfred in this one. The last movie was so like he was so disapproving of everything that Bruce was doing. So it's going to be cool to see
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
them kind of
once again, most of the stuff that he's in is Joss stuff, and it's like
yeah,
it's just not the same relationship as the first
right.
entry. But
Got a little same little Superman cape simulation that we got before. Brandon still thinks might be some Supergirl
Well-
worked into.
I just think, do we need to go over this again?
No, we don't. It's a tinfoil hat theory, but
Tinfoil hat. I feel like not the shot, obviously,
Yeah.
of Clark taking flight in the
I
hologram,
think it's
but
in
the
here.
next shot, yeah, it's very quick.
There
The
you
next
go.
shot of Bruce looking at the hologram.
Yep.
We kind of feel like this could be
The
Cyborg
open pod thing, and yeah, like
going through. He's like, hey, this is what I learned from the scout ship, and they
Right.
just flash this thing of Supergirl because we know Supergirl's been on Earth for 20,000 years.
right.
But yeah, we'll see. We're not going to dwell on it, and we're not saying it's definitely what's happening. We're just saying, hey, it could happen, and one does not discredit the other,
True.
in my opinion.
True.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
It was cool to see it confirmed because I always liked this shot in the theatrical.
Yeah.
Yep, of the London Bridge with the Superman crest on it. They used this in the was it in the montage at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool to see that actually is gonna continue and be in the cut. Here's the shot again of Amy Adams that we've seen before of her probably looking up to find Soups floating out there after he is revived. Potentially.
Possibly so. Or she's looking up like
hoping
she
for to
hears
see him.
something and
Yeah.
she turns around and it's like a plane or something.
Right. Because there is that.
Or
I
a
guess there
bird.
is that coffee
Either
shop.
a bird or a plane.
Good one. There is that coffee shop scene where.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. This looks like she's exiting that coffee shop.
Yeah.
It looks like that
Right.
like area, but we'll see.
And then we've got more apocalyptic tech. Doomsday doing it. Doomsday. Darkseid doing his thing. Which I think this shot here was a little bit I don't think we got that shot. Like I don't think it was that far into his swing in the
Nope.
original trailer.
Correct.
And then my favorite, we got some Jonathan Kent action. I'm a sucker for anything Jonathan
I think
Kent.
we had. Isn't there Jonathan Kent voiceover? during
There
this
is,
part?
yeah. Basically, him saying that he's got to decide what he's going to be. But I just have, Brandon knows, I've got a weakness for anything related to Paul Kent. So, of course, I'm probably going to end up tearing up in this one.
It's the Man of Steel. Right, it's the Man of Steel line.
I see. I was listening to it, but it seemed like a variant of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was the exact line from Man of Steel.
Gotcha.
The Cyborg shot is pretty cool. We've seen some like pre-viz shots of this sequence.
His parents.
Yeah, and the missiles up in the sky.
Yep.
I saw on Twitter somebody asked him like somebody asked Ray where they could get a jacket like that. And Ray said that he said there were two of them made, and one of them they let him air quote borrow.
Right.
So it sounds like he
still has it.
yeah was able to snag that one from.
Now Walter Hamada's coming for it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have said that, Ray.
Run with that jacket. All right.
Yeah.
So more shots of that the battle in the like Gotham Harbor silo area, I guess.
Yep.
This is the sequence that we saw in the theatrical where the Flash directs her sword back to her. And finally we got some more context to this Iris West stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because right after the theatrical release, this scene leaked out by that Ascended Ancient account. But not finished, obviously. It was decently rough CGI.
Right.
But yeah, when we saw this in the last, we've seen, the shots of Barry go into the glass, the ripple effect of the glass, him losing his shoes and saving Iris. So it'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Additional
seeing that one play out. That's one thing that I want to see is how Zack is going to treat the Flash and Speed Force, and because I don't think we got a true representation of that. Which didn't get a true representation of most things, but you get the point.
Indeed.
Batfleck doing his thing.
This is apparently how the movie opens, right? According to that picture that Snyder posted that had the opening credits.
With the ice shot, Fabian Wagner shot.
Yep.
So
him looking for Arthur.
That's going to be, and again, what kind of we could talk about too is just the aspect ratio of this movie is going to be so cool to like for those huge landscape shots that they have. I really feel like you're going to like sit back and watch in amazement with the world building of this flick.
Yeah.
But this is a cool shot. We saw early on, well, not early on, I guess a couple of months ago.
The teaser trailer. Yeah.
Yeah,
The trailer.
the the deflecting of the energy beams by Batman on the gauntlets.
Yeah, and I think we talked about somebody, Zach or somebody, was quoted saying that Alfred developed these after I guess looking at
some sort of
Diana's
relation to
gauntlets.
Diana.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's Zach to a T. If you think
It's
about
cool.
it,
You can see the I don't know what they're called. Where's Chris? He'd be able to tell us the little blades on the gauntlets. What those things are called.
Our resident weapons expert.
Yeah. They're still glowing from the heat.
Yeah.
You can kind of see them if you scrub.
Yep.
But it's a cool little touch.
And also what we didn't see before in this shot is it kind of felt like the sequence was happening at a level where Steppenwolf and Wonder Woman were not in that structure, but it looks like they're all on the same platform, doing battle, air quotes. This stuff is going to be so cool to see. Rip my freaking heart out when I got the itchy scene in the theatrical.
What's funny that they're not even in the cornfield in that shot.
True. Yeah. Very true.
So it's because so this is him. I guess he takes Lois. This is a scene where he's taking Lois to Kent Farm after the Heroes Park battle, and they probably go into.
She gets him a shirt and
brown cow, and then the next morning she wakes up. He's not in the bed anymore. He's in the cornfield,
right,
trying to be like Batman and brooding. Because everybody wants to be like Batman.
Trying to be like Batman.
Trying.
That's
what I said.
Flight 2.0, Brandon. Flight 2.0.
Okay, here's a question that I have for this scene.
Okay.
The beginning of this scene,
yeah,
I think is different than the end of this scene. It
Interesting.
seems like there's light. There's a light source. It's very bright.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then the takeoff scene looks like it could be from,
yeah,
the actual battle with Steppenwolf at the end.
I can see. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the color change there.
It's very blue. It's very blue when he actually takes off.
Right. Versus, yeah, I see what you're saying. But I will say, I'm a huge Man of Steel fan, and one of my favorite scenes in that film is when he takes flight for the first time. This sucker has got the potential to outdo that for me.
Oh yeah. Do you think it's going to be better than Wonder Woman 84's first flight?
Oh, gosh, Brandon, don't bring down the show.
All right.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, dude, just Black Suit Superman. Man, like I said, I told you before, I've said on Twitter, been waiting my whole dang life to see this in live action. So.
It's definitely, it's going to be very much an homage to the Man of Steel. And I imagine, we've already seen him coming out of the scout ship. Again, for this one, very innocent and intentionally so.
Got a shot of Cyborg here, and one thing that Zach has kind of showed us in the last few teases that he's put out is Cyborg, more Cyborg in action. Specifically,
this is
flight.
Probably the shot where he has that helmet that pops on.
Yeah, probably true. Yep, where he flies up in the clouds. Yeah.
Right.
That's a good call there. We've got
Themyscira.
What did I miss there? I never saw that one. Oh, so this looks like Steppenwolf trying to rip into the Nightcrawler. Man.
This shot seems quicker than the actual tease that we got yesterday.
Yeah.
but still amazing. Little
And
back
then
tank.
the back
And
tank.
I throw this out there on Twitter, but I'm wondering if there was that concept art of Batman going into Gotham Harbor, discovering the parademon nest,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering if this has anything to do with that, and if they were able to actually do that.
It could be. I'm interested to see if they show any of, because I know Zach is very aware of the like detective nature of Batman's character. I'm curious. They did it in a very cheesy way with Justice League, with the like green slime explosion and
Yeah.
mother boxes on the wall. But I will be very curious to see if they show Ben Affleck actually kind of like going out and trying to figure out like what's going on. Um,
Yep. I I mean, I don't know, but I feel like there's a good possibility that that could be what this is like.
yeah,
Um,
that it definitely gives you that vibe.
and it's obviously a nod to Dark Knight Rises. I mean, Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
Frank Miller.
Man, ripped out of the comic book. The vehicle looks
Yeah.
exactly like it. It's awesome.
Yep.
Got Flash with Daddy, which
Indeed.
very interested to see. Basically, in the theatrical, it was just dude shows up. It's like, I'm gonna get you out of here. Go get a job. At the end, he gets a job.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Look at you go.
Yeah.
Which could be.
And I love
don't
Billy
know.
Crudup's
We'll see.
awesome. So, I'm interested to see. I feel like there's a lot more heart to these sequences than what we got in the original cut too.
Yeah.
Man, it's gonna be when this movie comes out, it's gonna be so fascinating to break down, like to compare these two. Probably won't even be comparable, but just to see how they took some of the stuff that Zach did and like butchered it or like repurposed it or whatever. And that was an interesting little shot. Looks like we got Cyborg interfacing with the mother boxes. And I think this I imagine this is the point where Cyborg jumps into his nightmare
Yeah.
sequence.
Either that or
Got the flash
which one?
behind him.
With him holding the mother box. Yeah.
Yeah. With
The flash behind him seems. I wonder if that's because we assume Barry's reversing time at some point and doing some sort of. I wonder if that scene of him
Yeah.
coming up behind Victor
It could be.
has something to do. I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder if this has something to do with the resurrection scene, because Flash obviously was involved with that. So, versus the end where Cyborg's down at the bottom of that silo trying to rip the boxes apart in a theatrical. We got a little shot of Steppy reaching out for the Atlantean mother box. Again, going to be awesome to see Volko actually in this movie. And just see that whole sequence play out more organically than what it turned out to be in theatrical. That was such a bummer because the idea, and this was before Aquaman, so no one had really ever toyed with Atlantis like that, and to have the first kind of Atlantean sequence be that was such a ugh. I don't have to watch it anymore, Brandon, right?
That's right. Unless you're playing a drinking game.
That's
which
right.
I encourage.
Yeah. Basically did that last night.
Yep.
Again, heart of the movie for me. I know people say the heart of the movie is going to be Cyborg, and I'm sure it will be, but I just have a weak spot for this whole family dynamic, and I'm a Superman guy,
Yeah.
so man, the fact that this stuff was missing from the original, and we've talked about it before. The itchy line is one where I looked over at Brandon and I was like, nope, nope.
Yeah. So, but
we got Bats and Wonder Woman.
This Batman scene is where the Danny Elfman score will come in.
Gosh.
Da-na-na-na-na.
Oh man, that was so brutal last night. Every time he did something, da-na-na-na.
The only Batman theme there is.
Right. It's what's funny is they wrapped it up when it happened at the time. They like boxed it up in this like it's an homage to it. I'm like, dude, no, it's the same theme.
Oh,
like,
it's blatant.
like, you can't like wrap that up differently, or pretend you're wrapping that up differently.
Right.
So we got the Flash doing what appears to be the Speed Force thing. And
Speed Force thing.
Yeah, we mentioned before that he might be reversing time at some point. This scene would seem to indicate that. It does look like you said the other day. It looks like some sort of kind of like reverse tidal wave.
Implosion type. Could be the Unity, the mother box. It's something to do with that. Like
some sort of. I imagine there's some sort of explosion involved with the mother boxes, which ultimately leads to him doing his thing.
Yep.
Got this shot that we've seen a lot over the last 3 years of the league.
Yep.
And then we got the history lesson. Looks like King Atlan there. I think at some point somebody said this was supposed to be like 20-minute long sequence or something. Which
I hope so. It looks like, even the shot before that with the Amazonians, that kind of war cry from that one Amazonian turning around.
Yep.
Then transitioning into Atlan.
Sure. This whole thing has such a Lord of the Rings vibe, and Brandon and I are both huge Lord of the Rings fans, so two loves coming together there. Snyder and Lord of the Rings. Gotta love it. Got Batman swinging in.
Very much we've seen that shot kind of before, but to an extent, as far as the nod to the original Detective Comics, him and saving he's like holding a civilian or a cop or something in one hand.
Sure.
You also see that parademon gun that he apparently wields probably right after this encounter. Yeah,
this whole thing is kind of a just final battle character montage.
I am so excited to see Batman do Batman things in this movie, because he did none of those Batman things in the last movie, in the original theatrical. God, he was he was such a joke in the last movie.
Yep. I was watching all the sequences that they did in that like little fake side room in jail, the like red room, where every single shot you knew was a reshoot. It was just, it was agonizing. I got Wonder Woman doing her thing, and there's another shot of Cyborg going aerial, barrel rolling.
There's buildings falling, assuming this is like the Russia sequence.
Yeah, that could be the case.
Yeah.
Got
your boy.
Oh man,
laying the smack down. This is a scene that was even in the theatrical, but just so much better in this version.
Yeah. Not the exact shot when I was looking at it, but they just like little things in this shot here, just like the way his hair like flies up, like just makes everything feel a lot more like organic and raw versus like and then his laser eyes in the theatrical, like it's just like parallel beams from start to finish, and this one it just explodes out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Like you really like feel, and you can see in his face, like this. I would imagine this is a vengeful type Superman, considering he was killed.
Yep.
So then we got Hanger Talk with Al and Bruce there. But you mentioned earlier something cool about this title card that you liked. Them kind of like focusing on Zack's name first before the title. Which is very true. I'm actually very glad that they went the route of kind of refreshing the look and feel of the, like, they obviously used the shield, the Justice League shield in the background, but I just like that they kind of, I feel like after 4 years it just needed a little bit of something new, and I dig the typeface.
I do too, Ryan.
Yeah. So now we got the Stinger, Brandon. You ready to talk about the Stinger?
Nah, I'm good.
No, nah, you're good.
We're living in a society.
Who's that back there? Who's that?
I think it's let's see. Is it Billie Eilish? I can't tell.
It's a good guess. Good guess. But no.
Oh.
It is the Joker. He's got his SWAT team vest on, which is cool. I know we heard that. Was it Zach that said that he kind of wears different badges and stuff?
Badges, trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got Ben back in the suit here, which I didn't notice before. We got Cyborg in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So interested to see how that plays out.
And we should probably note the dialogue. Though we live in a society.
Yep.
Excuse me.
I'm a Seinfeld fan, so somehow, somewhere, over the last few years, apparently there's a scene in Seinfeld where George Costanza talks about society. He's basically like expressing frustration with society, and my understanding is that that thing took kind of a life of its own on Reddit, and got kind of linked with the Joker in the process, and now he says it in a major theatrical production.
Apparently, I mean, Variety put out an article today about it, but I think it's Variety. But apparently, like, people are campaigning for them to have Joaquin Phoenix's character say it.
Yeah, that's
Joker.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, got Ben in the vat suit, looking good, filling the thing out.
Well, the ending to that line is, "We live in a society where honor is a distant memory."
Yep. And we get
Isn't that right?
our first look at the Nightmare Clown Prince of Crime.
And they, I mean, I know a lot of fans wanted them to hold this from the marketing, but
Dude,
if you're gonna get people hooked,
yeah, you had,
and the people that need to be hooked are the people that are on the outskirts of this fandom.
and it's so easy. It's such an easy. The Joker's arguably the most marketable DC property. No matter, it doesn't matter if a TV show comes out with somebody playing the Joker or an animated thing. Obviously, feature. If there's a new Joker, trades jump all over it. People love talking about it. And for a movie, especially a movie like this, where fingers crossed, we get enough folks to watch and express their love for it, that we'll get more content in the future. I like that they're actually playing all these cards to get people to watch it instead of relying on anticipation.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think that's a luxury they have. But it's a cool shot. Looks like it may have been a dream lens shot again.
Could be.
With the way he's working the light there. Zach loves that camera. Yeah, March 18th. So we're
Yes,
about a month away now, Brandon.
So excited, Ryan.
I know you are.
So excited.
If there's one word to describe Brandon right now about this movie, it's excited.
I don't get excited much.
It's true.
But most of the time
We call him
that
Eeyore.
I do, it's on this podcast.
Yeah. Accurate. One thing we could note in here too is Jesse Eisenberg has a pretty prominent I don't know what the word is, billing on here.
As is Willem Dafoe.
Yep, and J.K. Simmons is on there.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I'm just stoked to. I don't want to. On one side of me, I want like them to market the heck out of this thing, but then there's another side of me that is just like, I don't need to see anymore. Like, I don't care if it's a TV spot. I don't care if it's a whatever. I mean, Brandon, they've had me
those things, but
do what?
I said there will be those things.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be.
Yeah.
Not to quote the line from the trailer. But yeah. And then also, on the next little title card, you've got the R rating, violence, and some language.
Nice. There we go. Yep. All right, man. I'm gonna probably watch this another 20 times before I go to bed.
Yeah, this was actually, breaking this down was the first time I'd actually been able to like scrub through it and see it like frame by frame.
Yeah.
And so I picked up a lot of things that didn't catch upon, and I watched it a lot before. But there's so many quick scenes,
Right.
that it kind of demands a little bit of a little scrubbing. So yeah,
Cool.
well, this was fun.
Yeah, man.
First live chat.
I'm pretty surprised we got the amount of chat action that we did. It was fun though. Do what?
Yeah, for sure. We'll perfect it. I mean, we just figured it out today.
Yeah,
so.
first try. It's pretty
Pat
decent
ourselves
success.
on the back.
Yeah, didn't like nobody's feed bowed out or anything. I mean, it's pretty high level success. We actually got some people watching, got some people talking to us.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would say
was able to tune in.
Yeah, definitely expect us to do a lot more of this live streaming stuff. We, like we talked about at the beginning of starting this whole show and channel, we like the whole idea behind it is we want to talk with people who dig the same stuff. So
Yep.
It's fun to get you guys involved in the conversation here on the show. So I'm sure we'll be back. Right, Brandon?
That's right, Ryan.
That's right.
That's right.
All right. Well, we'll be back on Wednesday, to review Marvel stuff, to review WandaVision, the 6th episode.
We're also doing a comic book review on CiNEMACHiNE. We're doing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World this week.
That's true. Qualifies.
Tune in for that.
Qualifies.
We're getting Al to talk about a comic book movie. How about that?
Get some of that. You think he's still listening?
No. Not a chance.
All right, Brandon. Until next time, it was fun, brother.
Indeed. We'll see you.